The National Agreement on Closing the Gap was a significant initiative of the Coalition of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Peak organisations. There was 70 meetings across the country with over 3,500 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to come together to develop the 4 priority reforms in the National Agreement to change the way that governments work with us.
Priority Reform 1 is really about co-design and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leadership and self-determination. So for us as the Coalition of Peaks, through our membership, determining what the priorities are, how to put that voice out into policy and negotiate with governments at the table around what is important for us. It's about appreciating the diversity, the cultural, geographical, demographical diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, making sure that they're represented at the table and their voices are heard. It's about making sure that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander governance, as well as leadership, is at the forefront of making those decisions.
The second priority reform is the building and strengthening of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community-controlled sector that delivers services to our people at the community level, and so on. So it's the whole breadth of service delivery, and we have many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community-controlled organisations that achieve better outcomes than mainstream or government providers. And that's why it's important that we build and strengthen the community-controlled sector.
You know, we're at the coalface of the housing issues, COVID, you know, all the health and well-being and social determinants of health. You know, our community-controlled sector is at the centre of that. Our communities do access our organisations more than any other mainstream services, particularly first, in the first instance. So, you know, the greater resourcing and the opportunity for that is fantastic to see under the new agreement.
So Priority Reform 3 in the National Agreement is about transforming mainstream government organisations to provide better services to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We know that our community-controlled sector organisations provide better services to our people, but we can't do everything. So there'll always be government organisations such as police, hospitals, schools that will need to provide services to our children and our people. But we need those to be more culturally safe, culturally responsive and free of racism so that we're able to live long and healthy lives.
Priority Reform 3 is transforming governments and organisations. They need to transform because the way they operate now isn't in a trauma-aware, healing-informed way, and in fact they perpetuate more harm.
So you've got state government agencies and Commonwealth government agencies that collect vast data on Aboriginal people, but there's no sharing. So if we wanted to, for example, develop a new service, whether it's in an urban, regional or rural community, we basically have to justify the need. And if we can't get access to data that government has, then it makes it really difficult. So the whole thing about Priority Reform 4 is that collectively, again, everybody as a partnership agrees to work in partnership to actually get the data but share the data, right? So that we can better provide direct services to that community, but also eventually Aboriginal people can understand how powerful data is and actually use that to the benefit of their communities and down the track basically have control of their own sovereignty over their own data.